Right, folks, here we are, week 1 of the second half term. Hopefully it's a bit warmer now. I'm not sure whether it will be or not, but hopefully it is. So the first thing that we need to do is refresh our memories about the play The Crucible, the characters, the plot, before we start looking at Act 2, so that everybody is in the same starting place. So your first activity today is to put the title, Can I Remember the Plot and Characters from Act 1, with today's date, please. Underline both, and then I would like you to link the character with the role that they play bizarrely in the play. Okay, so on the left you've got Reverend Parris, Abigail Williams, Betty Parris, Tituba, Thomas Putnam, Anne Putnam, Mercy Lewis, Mary Warren, John Proctor, Rebecca Nurse, Giles Corey and Reverend Hale. Those are all the characters that we physically met in Act 1, apart from Susanna Walcott, but she's a pretty minor character who she did dance with the girls in the woods the night before the play starts, but she's not a main character, so we can just ignore her for now. In the roll box on the right, you have mixed up short statements that link to each of those characters. So those of you who were absolutely on form last half term, managed to keep up with all of the videos, well done you. I would like you to see if you can match these up in your book on your own. Those of you who fell behind for whatever reason, on the next page I have already created the answer to this conundrum. So the box on the right has been changed, the order of those statements, so they match up with the characters on the left. Okay, so have a go at doing it on your own if you are one of those star pupils who managed to keep up to date with everything. If you didn't manage to keep up to date with everything, or you are unsure of the role of each of those characters, then you will find the answer grid on the next slide. So just copy that one down, please. Okay, and we need to get on with reminding ourselves about the plot of Act 1. I would now like you to write a side heading or a subheading, the plot of Act 1, and underline it. Pause me whilst you do this, and then start me up again. I have condensed Act 1 into 10 bullet points, and to make sure that everybody has that plot and those events clear in their mind, I would like you please to copy out these 10 bullet points to remind you to consolidate, to make sure that we are all experts on what happened in Act 1 before we go and read Act 2. As we're going through Act 2, some of the work will refer back to things that happened in Act 1, so it's really important that we just take these 10 minutes to remind ourselves of what happened. Okay, so pause the video, neatly, properly numbered, with capital letters at the beginning and full stops at the end, and capital letters for all names, please. I've checked what I've typed here. All the capital letters that are required are in the correct place. Be accurate, be precise with your work. Copy down these 10 key statements about the events of Act 1. The first part of Act 2 is set in the house of John and Elizabeth Proctor. We've met John before. We've heard about Elizabeth, but we haven't actually seen her yet. These are two of the main characters of the play, and I just want to make a few things clear to you before we start reading this section. So, obviously on the left we have John Proctor. He is a Salem farmer. It was traditional for the majority of people in a village at that time to own their own land and live off of that land. So grow crops, keep animals that provided them with milk from which they could make butter and cheese and so on. And they would have built their own houses, each group of people helping each other to build those houses to live in when they settled there. Okay, so John then, Salem farmer. He is well respected by most people. He's very honest. So Reverend Parris and Thomas Putnam don't particularly like him, but most people respect him. He's married to Elizabeth. He has 3 sons. He does not respect Reverend Parris as a man of God. He thinks Reverend Parris is very greedy, is only after money and ownership. He had a very brief affair with Abigail Williams. And the really important thing about that is he feels huge guilt for being unfaithful to his wife. And he has been trying ever since to make things right with her. Okay, on to Elizabeth then. She is a farmer's wife, married to John, obviously, which would have meant she was very busy and there was a lot of expectations about being physically strong, keeping the house, helping tend the animals, helping look after the land. Obviously, she has 3 sons as well. Important piece of information, she was very ill after the birth of her youngest child. And that's when John Proctor had the affair, when his wife was very poorly. She suspected her husband of having an affair with Abigail, so she sacked Abigail when her husband admitted to that affair. And since then, she is finding it very difficult to forgive her husband for what he did. Okay, so important bits of background information there about the 2 characters. And now we're going to head on and start reading Act 2. Get your cup of teas ready, get your chocolate hobnobs, or whatever it is that you settle yourself down with. And let's find out about the relationship between these 2 characters. Okay, so here we go then, Act 2. Just as with Act 1, you can see that Miller spends quite a bit of time setting out very clearly his stage directions so that the scene is set up how he envisages it as he is writing his play. Okay, I'll read through those and then we'll get on with hearing the conversation between Elizabeth and John. Or Proctor, they use his surname, as you will see. So the common room of Proctor's house, 8 days later. Okay, so just over a week has passed since we saw everybody mad with hysteria at the end of Act 1. At the right is a door opening on the fields outside. A fireplace is at the left, and behind it a stairway leading upstairs. It is the low, dark and rather long living room of the time. As the curtain rises, the room is empty. From above, Elizabeth is heard softly singing to the children. Presently the door opens and John Proctor enters, carrying his gun. He glances around the room as he comes toward the fireplace, then halts for an instant as he hears her singing. He continues on to the fireplace, leans the gun against the wall as he swings a pot out of the fire and smells it. Then he lifts out the ladle and tastes. He is not quite pleased. He reaches to a cupboard, takes a pinch of salt and drops it into the pot. As he is tasting again, her footsteps are heard on the stair. He swings the pot into the fireplace and goes to a basin and washes his hands and face. Elizabeth enters. "What keeps you so late? It's almost dark." "I were planting far out to the forest edge." "Oh, you're done then?" "Aye, the farm is seeded." "The boys asleep?" "They soon will be." And she goes to the fireplace, proceeds to ladle up stew in a dish. "Pray now for a fair summer." "Aye." "Are you well today?" "I am." She brings the plate to the table and, indicating the food, says, "It's a rabbit." "Oh, is it? In Jonathan's trap?" "No. She walked into the house this afternoon. I found her sitting in the corner like she'd come to visit." "Oh, that's a good sign walking in. Pray God. It hurt my heart to strip her, poor rabbit." She sits and watches him taste it. "It's well seasoned." Blushing with pleasure, "I took great care." "She's tender?" "Aye. I think we'll see green fields soon." "It's warm as blood beneath the clods." The clods is just another word for soil, lumps of soil. "That's well. If the crop is good, I'll buy George Jacob's heifer." "Heifer's cow? How would that please you?" "Aye, it would." "I mean to please you, Elizabeth." "I know it, John." He gets up, goes to her, kisses her. She receives it. With a certain disappointment, he returns to the table. "Cider?" With a sense of reprimanding herself for having forgotten. "Aye." She gets up and goes and pours a glass for him. He now arches his back. "Oof, this farm's a continent when you go foot by foot dropping seeds in it." "It must be." "You ought to bring some flowers in the house." Oh, I forgot. I will tomorrow." "It's winter in here yet. On Sunday, let you come with me, and we'll walk the farm together. I never see such a load of flowers on the earth." With good feeling, he goes and looks up at the sky through the open doorway. Lilacs have a purple smell. Lilac is the smell of nightfall, I think. Massachusetts is a beauty in the spring. "Aye, it is." There is a pause. She is watching him from the table as he stands there absorbing the night. It is as though she would speak but cannot. Instead, now she takes up his plate and glass and fork and goes with them to the basin. Her back is turned to him. He turns to her and watches her. A sense of their separation rises. "I think you're sad again. Are you?" She doesn't want friction, and yet she must. "You come so late. I thought you'd gone to Salem this afternoon." "Why? I have no business in Salem." "You did speak of going earlier this week." He knows what she means. "I thought better of it since." Mary Warren's there today. Now remember, Mary Warren is their maid, their help around the house, their employee, and they pay her to do that job. She's not there today. Why'd you let her? You heard me forbid her go to Salem anymore. I couldn't stop her, holding back a full condemnation of her. It is a fault. It is a fault, Elizabeth. You're the mistress here, not Mary Warren. She frightened all my strength away. How may that mouse frighten you, Elizabeth? It is a mouse no more. I forbid her go, and she raises up her chin like the daughter of a prince and says to me, I must go to Salem, Goody Proctor. I am an official of the court. Court? What court? Aye, it is a proper court they have now. They've sent 4 judges out of Boston, she says, weighty magistrates of the General Court, and at the head sits the Deputy Governor of the province. Why, she's mad. I would to God she were. There be 14 people in the jail now, she says. Proctor simply looks at her, unable to grasp it. And they'll be tried, and the court have power to hang them, she says. Oh, they'd never hang. The Deputy Governor promised hanging if they'll not confess, John. The town's gone wild, I think. She speak of Abigail, and I thought she were a saint to hear her. Abigail brings the other girls into the court, and where she walks, the crowd will part like the sea for Israel, and folks are brought before them, and if they scream and howl and fall to the floor, the person's clapped in the jail for bewitching them. Oh, it is a black mischief. I think you must go to Salem, John. Okay, folks, that's the reading for today. I'm pretty sure with the other work I've asked you to do, that's the lesson completed now. Okay, so we'll pick up at 2 tomorrow, where we've just left off the conversation between Proctor and his wife Elizabeth. Well done, folks. See you tomorrow.